Imagine moving into a new place, unloading a mountain of boxes, turning on the kitchen faucet, and nothing. Just a hollow hiss of air. Yeah, not exactly the housewarming you were hoping for. Whether you're opening up a brand new business or just settling into a new neighborhood, setting up your water service in Oklahoma City is literally step one. Today, we're going to demystify this whole setup process, taking what usually feels like a tangled web of red tape and turning it into a super simple, actionable checklist for this explainer.
Look, if you're feeling totally stressed out about utility setup right now, you are definitely not alone. We've all been there. Moving is chaotic enough, with the packing, the heavy lifting, the endless logistics. The absolute last thing you need is a massive headache just trying to get the water running. And that universal anxiety? That is exactly why we put this guide together.
So, take a deep breath. Honestly, your peace of mind boils down to just one number: 2. It takes a mere 2 business days to activate residential water service in Oklahoma City. That's it. As long as you follow the steps we're about to outline, you definitely won't be left high and dry. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with a quick welcome to OKC Water, then walk right through the application process. After that, we'll break down fees and billing, look at managing your online account, cover a few special cases, and finally, wrap things up with some support resources.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1. Welcome to OKC Water. The crazy thing here is the sheer scale of the system you're actually plugging into. The Oklahoma City Utilities Department doesn't just serve the immediate city limits. They supply water to over 1.2 million people across OKC and 18 other surrounding communities. Establishing this service is your absolute foundational first step, whether you're opening a massive commercial facility or just moving into a cozy duplex.
Which brings us right to Section 2, the application process.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's a really straightforward 4-step path. First, just gather your vital info: date of birth, social security number, phone number, and email. Second, submit that application. You can do it all digitally at okcutilities.com, or, if you actually prefer speaking to a human being, just call their customer service center at 405-297-2833 between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. on weekdays. Third, you'll undergo a quick soft credit check, which I'll explain in just a sec. And fourth, boom, your service activates in 2 business days.
Now, you might be wondering, why on earth does the water company need to check my credit? Fair question. It actually comes down to a federal mandate called the Furnisher Rule. Basically, the Federal Trade Commission requires utility providers to validate your identity. They aren't just being nosy. This is explicitly designed to protect you from bad actors who might try to use your identity to start service, rack up a bunch of debt, and totally tank your credit score. And this process is actually to your advantage. The city uses a TransUnion soft credit check. The word soft is the key here. This is not going to negatively impact your credit score. 0 impact. Aside from preventing identity fraud, this quick check determines if you qualify to have your initial deposit completely waived. Plus, it even checks if you're eligible for reduced rates on your solid waste, basically your trash collection.
Okay, let's talk money in Section 3, Understanding Fees and Billing.
So, there's a very real, direct financial benefit to that identity verification step we just talked about. If your credit is verified and in good standing, your deposit is waived entirely. Yep, $0 up front. On the flip side, if your credit is unverified, or hey, if you just choose not to undergo the soft check at all, you'll be assessed a maximum residential security deposit of $120. And keep in mind, that deposit won't be refunded or applied to your bill until you eventually end your services with the city down the road. Once your service is up and running, what are you actually paying? Well, looking at the standard 5/8" residential meter rates, you're going to see a flat monthly base charge plus a tiered volume rate per 1,000 gallons used. But the vital takeaway here is the scheduled increase. Notice how the rates bump up between January 2025 and November 2025? These rates are structured to automatically adjust each November to help support ongoing critical infrastructure projects in the region.
Moving right along to Section 4, managing your online account.
The customer portal at okcutilities.com and their dedicated mobile app, My OKC Utilities, offer some seriously convenient features. For starters, you can set up autopay, which is fantastic for smoothing out those seasonal billing spikes by using average monthly billing. You can also easily track your historical water consumption, instantly verify your local trash and recycling pickup days, and effortlessly request a transfer or stop of service when it's time to move again. It literally puts total account management right in your pocket.
All right, let's pivot a bit to Section 5, Special Cases and Considerations.
So for non-standard setups, there are two really distinct, specialized meter types you should know about. First are hydrant flush meters. These are for contractors who need temporary bulk water for construction sites. They're highly regulated, handed out on a first-come, first-served basis, and run at $6.27 per 1,000 gallons through October 2026. On the other hand, if you're putting in some serious landscaping at your home, you'll definitely want an irrigation deduct meter. It measures the water used outside and actually deducts it from your sewer bill calculations. It does require an $80 calibration fee up front, but it can save you a ton on wastewater charges in the long run.
Now, if you happen to be a developer or commercial builder tying a brand new property into the city system, the administrative requirements are quite a bit more rigorous. You have to submit a new meter installation form via email and pay impact fees, which, by the way, scale up pretty drastically based on the size of the meter. And if you're installing a large meter, like 3 inches or above, you've got to undergo pre-qualification with Public Works, and your installers are legally required to hold an active Class D water operator's license from the state.
And finally, that brings us to Section 6, Support and Final Resources.
Look, not everyone wants to use a digital portal or an app, and that is totally fine. There are some highly accessible alternative options for you. You can pay with cash at over 120 PaySite kiosks located inside Homeland, Crest Foods, and 7-Eleven stores across the metro area. You can also use Western Union agent locations. Use the automated phone system with a Visa or MasterCard, or just keep it classic and mail your payment in to their P.O. box.
Now, if you spend any time on local online forums, you've probably seen residents venting about shockingly high utility bills. It happens to the best of us. If you ever find yourself staring down an unbudgeted massive water bill, the city actually has a safety net. You can just log into the portal to self-guide through a payment extension. Or, if you qualify, you can set up a structured installment plan to pay that balance down over a few months without losing your service.
For deeper financial distress, there are some really critical community lifelines out there. You can dial 211 for the Oklahoma Heartline, which provides great financial referrals. There's also the Help to Others, or H2O program, which assists neighbors in need using funds donated by other customers, which is awesome. Finally, and this is super important, if you ever experience a massive leak, a water main break, or a sudden outage, do not wait. Call the 24/7 Water Emergency Dispatch at 405-297-3334 immediately.
Well, we've covered a whole lot of ground in this explainer today, from the initial digital application all the way to specialized construction meters and emergency dispatch numbers. The path is completely laid out, the steps are super clear, and the digital tools are just waiting for you. So, what are you waiting for? Are you ready to get that application going, or will you let a little administrative paperwork keep you thirsty?
Just as a final quick note before we go, while everything we've talked about today provides a highly accurate snapshot based on our sources, municipal policies, exact fees, and rate structures do adjust over time, just like we saw with those scheduled November increases. So always make sure to verify the details directly at okcutilities.com for the absolute most current info. Thank you so much for joining me to master the setup process. Now, go get that water running.